Welcome back to Deja Vu, and this is Mayberry Misunderstood, where I'm going to go to the internet and find posts about the Andy Griffith Show, and we're going to have some rebuttals to some comments that they make about it. This particular post is on a subreddit, and it's titled "Andy Taylor is a Crooked Sheriff." I'm going to get right into this and respond to it. My parents were watching the Andy Griffith Show last night, and it dawned on me that Andy is not the perfect sheriff like he's made out to be. In this particular episode, the town band is so awful that the mayor refuses to let the band go play at the state capitol. So instead of just getting everyone to practice, he goes and threatens to detain a local band that is leaving town and forces them to play in front of the mayor posing as the Mayberry Band. I just want to start off by rebuttaling here because he says that Andy isn't the perfect sheriff like he's made out to be. Anybody who's watched the Andy Griffith Show knows that he is not the perfect sheriff if what you're looking for is perfection in action, never ever doing anything wrong. And if that's what you're looking for, yeah, you're right. He's not the perfect sheriff. And I just don't think that anybody's ever actually had that thought. Now, in the way that they do probably think that he is the perfect sheriff, which in the way I guess I would too, is the fact that he is the sheriff that you would want. He repents of things when he does them wrong. He changes his ways. He admits that he's wrong and he does his best to reconcile with people and things always work out. So that in that aspect, he is the perfect sheriff because you don't always find that in real life. Now, I'm just going to continue on here where it says, now after seeing Andy's abuse of power, I decided to do a little research and found that this isn't the only time Andy hasn't been the greatest person. All right, so he's got 5 points here that we're going to go through. First point, Andy supports child abuse. In the episode Opie and the Spoiled Kid, Andy suggests to a local kid's dad to take the kid out to the woodshed to hit him with a belt. Opie is visibly moved by this, implying that Andy has done the same thing to him. Opie is only 6 to 7 years old. Now, here's the thing. If you're opposed to spankings, I would suppose that this is something where you're going to take this person's side. However, even if you're opposed to spankings, if you're being reasonable, you have to admit there's a difference between a spanking and there is a difference between abusing your child. There is a vast difference. One teaches, one is out of maliciousness, out of hatred, that doesn't do any justice towards the child or yourself. Now, what Andy suggested was that a out of line, and this is all within the Mayberry worldview, this is not something that actually happened, but he is suggesting to this parent that you need to get your kid back in line. Look at this. And if you watch that episode, the kid is out of control. Clearly has not had any discipline. Clearly has not had any guidance, which is what this is part of. So, no, Andy is not supporting child abuse in any way. And you can say that Opie reacted to it because his dad is somebody who cares about his child and will teach him the way to act in public and the way to become a strong, good man. Now, point two here. He lied about his war record. In 2 episodes, Andy mentions that he was in France during World War II. We find out in a different episode that Andy graduated from high school in the spring of 45 and couldn't have possibly been in France. I agree completely. However, it's not Andy lying. I actually covered this in one of the episodes that we just recently rewatched. This is all this is a continuity error in the show. And this show is unique in that aspect, I think, especially when we compare it to stuff today. It's unique in the fact that they didn't care if they had a continuity error, if they needed to write somebody out or not write them out and just or write not write out an event but act like it never happened. They did it. And the show went on because the show had really good writing. It's not like today, like when you go and watch a Marvel movie or show, and everything has to line up in all the episodes because they're world building. You could say that there's a world for Andy Griffith, but it's not the same. It's more flexible, and that's okay. And the episodes still came out great. So you don't have to have that. Number three, he allowed a town drunk to have keys to the town jail. Pretty self explanatory why this is a bad idea. And then he talks about Otis, giving Otis a stray dog. But, anyways, so the main point here is allowing the town drunk to have the keys to the jail. This is, if, and I hope that whoever is writing this is being a little sarcastic, but if they're not, then they really don't understand this show. Because what is happening here is that you have daily events happening in a world where everything always works out. And that's why it's fun to watch. Now, today, everybody wants their dramas to be realistic, their shows to be realistic. It, I watch this show to get away from realistic. I want to watch a show where it's not like my world. Not that my world is bad, but I want to go to something cheerful, something that I know where it's always going to make it to the right way at the end of the episode. And so that's why it's okay to let Otis do this, because it doesn't matter. What's he going to do? It's all going to work out. And Otis is going to be okay, and Andy is going to be okay, and Barney will be. Everybody will be. So that's why this doesn't matter. Number 4, nepotism. Deputy Barney Fife is clearly an incompetent cop who Andy doesn't seem to even trust with a loaded gun. So why does he have a job? Because he's Andy's cousin. Andy's nepotism puts the town at risk. Okay, you get the point here. So to one point, because this doesn't have complete continuity, I don't think that by the later episodes, I don't think they really include Barney as being related to Andy anymore. I think that kind of goes away. But even if it didn't, this just goes right back to the previous point. It's because this is a good show in a good world where everything is going to work out. And so it's okay to have the bumbling deputy. And if we didn't have the bumbling deputy, this show would have been boring. I don't think this show would have made it more than a season if it made that. So we need Barney to be like this, and we're okay with it because nobody's going to get hurt. Barney's not going to get hurt. And in fact, he's going to save the day a lot of times. And that's okay. This is a good show because of this. Number 5, Andy is a womanizer. In one episode, he gets lost in the woods with an old girlfriend, then lies to his current girlfriend. Okay, they continue on about girlfriends. Andy's not perfect. He is not perfect at all. And he usually, like I said earlier, he learns and he apologizes, which is also a trait of a good person. It's one thing to do bad things, but somebody who can apologize, that is a good trait to learn. And if somebody was watching this show, especially a young person, and all they took away was that, hey, you know what? If you do something bad, you need to apologize and mean it. That's one hell of a thing to learn from Andy. So I don't see how this is a bad thing. Like I said, we have never, or at least I have never thought that Andy was the perfect person, but he is the sheriff that I want. And that's the one that I want to watch. The end here says that Andy Taylor isn't the greatest human being in the world and shouldn't be celebrated as this fantastic dad and sheriff who can do no wrong. That statement, the only way that that can seriously be made is if you don't understand the show and if you haven't given it a chance. So if you are one of those people that think like this, give it a chance. Some people aren't fans of the color episodes. I understand there's a little change of tone. Watch all the black and white episodes. I do not think that you can watch all those episodes and come away with this opinion about Andy or about anybody in the show, really. It's a good show, and these are points that can either only be made in sarcasm or in ignorance. So these are points that only can be made in either sarcasm or ignorance. All right, so if you liked what you heard here, let me know in the comments. If you got some points that you'd like to make, maybe you don't agree with what I said here, let me know. We can talk about it in there. And let me know if you'd like me to do more segments like this. I do enjoy this because I love talking about this show. And there's going to be other shows that we get into as this series goes on. Thank you very much and have a good day.